Oh, hello everybody. It is Phrasing with Jay with your host, Jay. And you know what's really funny is I recorded 15 minutes of this very show before, just a few minutes ago. And I hit the stop button because I was coughing to death and I had to stop to edit it out. And oh my God, did I realize that my recording software was not recording. My microphone, well, my microphone's obviously on, and my my audio interface is on, but my DAW, my digital audio workspace, was not set to record the audio. So, didn't catch any of that. Son of a bitch. And it was fucking awesome too. I can't believe that. Constantly gone. Now it's gone. No more awesome introduction that I had for everybody. But let's get the introductions over with and get these plugs. I apologize if you hear me sound a little nasally or all this kind of shit. I'm just sick as fuck. Been battling a cold and I found out that I recently got allergies. Shout out to my homegirl Alice who pointed it out to me among other people. You could find me on Instagram at GameJisSus. Go give me a follow over there. Go follow me on X or Twitter, whatever the fuck Musk is calling it nowadays, at GameJ1. That's number one, not the word O-N-E. Okay, GameJ1. Go subscribe to me on YouTube at GameJ, and don't think I'm not seeing all that weird little shit you're posting on me about me out there. It's weird as fuck. It's nothing bad. It's just bizarre. I went down a rabbit hole because I'm an actor. So, of course, I Google myself and I found the weirdest shit of people deep faking my face. And the results are absolutely disturbing. I'm not mad at any of you. I'm just very, very worried that a lot of you have far too much time on your hands. It's very bizarre. And I don't know how you're finding all this shit, but you are, and it's creepy, and I'm not mad at you. It's a little unnerving. If I wasn't a public figure in the sense that I'm an actor and I'm willing to have my face out there in certain pieces of information, I would be worried. I'd be concerned, genuinely. But I'm not. I just take it in stride, and I'm just entertained for the sake that people would take enough time to do silly shit like that. It's fucking incredible. So I think I talked about this the other day. I really do, but not the other day. It was like last week on the previous episode. I swear I talked about this. If I did, you're hearing a little bit more of it again. If not, then I had a conversation with somebody. Maybe it was a training partner or something like that. I don't know. I just know that it's been moving around in my head a lot lately, and I have to talk about it. There are a million reasons why you could choose not to do something. There are. And I'll take this show as an example. Look, I'm sick. I'm fucking wiped out. I'm beat. I feel terrible. But I still wanted to get an episode out and recorded and ready for Sighted TV to distribute to Spotify and YouTube and all the distribution platforms you can find it on, where you find podcast and audio stuff. And the major reason why was I knew that if I didn't do a show today and I just laid my head down on the pillow and I slept or whatever the fuck, I would hate myself. Part of me would hate myself. I would feel like I was a lazy fuck, that I just didn't handle my time properly. And that's what I'm talking about right now. It's about time management. And I know everybody has a different life situation. We all do. We all do. Some of us have kids. Some of us have jobs. You work 40 hours, 50 hours. Look, I used to work regular private sector jobs like many of you listening today. Okay? I did. I worked, and I'm not going to tell you, but I've worked in a lot of places, and I would work 40 hours, 50 hours, if not more, a week. And it did not stop me from doing my shift, clocking out, going home, and getting to making music and releasing an album, or doing voiceover work, or auditioning for a film. It never stopped me from doing the things that I wanted to do in order to change my life. Now, I'm not saying my life is grandiose. I'm just like all of you. I'm still struggling. I still need money. Like we all do. We all do. We all got bills to pay. We all got we all got car insurance to pay for. Like, I'm in the middle of moving. Like, trust me, I know the stresses involved in life, and it doesn't change no matter what occupation you have. It fucking doesn't. But what I will say is that no matter what your situation is, you can change it. especially if you live in a first world country. Like, we're way more capable of doing things than most people. Like, if you're not worried, if your biggest concern is paying bills, then it's okay. It's not as bad as you think. Just remember that. Just be grateful with what you have. Trust me. There are plenty of times where you could think about all the negative shit, all the stuff you don't have, all the stuff you want to have, but like, that could be marketing influencing your brain. And look, the only way your life gets better is if you make it better. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Now, I'm not saying you have to be self-made. That's a complete fucking lie. That's not real. There is no such thing as somebody who did it all on their own without assistance from somebody or a group of people. Let's take fitness, for example. Everybody has had somebody help them along the way. I've listened to countless training partners. I've listened to countless personal trainers, bodybuilders, power lifters, nutrition, all these people who've given me a lot of wisdom that I lacked. And they had to teach me these things, because if I didn't learn from them, where else was I going to learn it? Yeah, sure, I learned some stuff on the internet, but sometimes it really helps when you hear it from somebody face to face, which is something I'll get onto in a little bit, because that's something that's seemingly going out of style. But no, like, you have to realize that the only person who's going to walk through that door that some people are going to help you open up a little bit is you. You have to do it. You have to take charge of your own life, because realistically, somebody's going to live the life you want. Why shouldn't it be you? Somebody's going to live your dream life. Why don't you work towards making your dream life happen? And look, even if you fail, that's okay. Want to know why? Think about it. Arnold Schwarzenegger said this, and it's very, very wise. He said, it doesn't matter how many times you fall. No one thinks you're a failure unless you stay down. And that wasn't verbatim, but that was the gist of what he said. It was the basic principle. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be. Because if you fall, where are you going to fall? On the ground? Just get up. Just get up. The only time people will look at you as a failure is if you quit. That's the only time. Because people are going, oh yeah, fucking idiot. You just quit. You gave up. Don't give up. Whether you want to be a musician, an animator, an actor, the best, I don't know, turret lathe operator. Oh God, I don't know why that one came to my mind. But whatever you want to do with your life, scuba diving instructor, whatever it is, work toward it. There's 24 hours in a day. And I think I talked about this the last show too, but maybe. If I have, then you're hearing it again, or like I said earlier, I don't remember, but oh God, I've been punched in the head too many times. But either way, there's only so many hours in a day. There's 24 hours in a day. If you sleep 6 hours, that leaves 18 left to do something? I swear to God, I talked about this on the last show. So you might get a little bit of a repeat here. What I'm trying to say is manage your time properly, okay? You know how you get up when you hear the alarm, then you hit the snooze button and you go back to sleep for 10 minutes and you do that 3 or 4 times? Stop doing that. Just stop doing it. It's going to suck for a week. Yes, it will. It's not going to be easy. No one said it will be. But after you do it for a week, you won't even notice it. You'll just naturally just get up. Don't think, just do it. The reason why, oh God, I'm sniffing in the microphone, my bad. Oh God. I'm not editing it out. I was going to edit it out, but I want you to hear the suffering I'm going through because it's important. I want you to know that I'm human too. I'm not just some fucking AI bot regurgitating information back at you. No, get up. Just get the fuck up. I know you're tired. I know you stayed up too late the night before. You might have kids. You might have all sorts of other responsibilities. You might have issues. All right. I don't know. But the only way to get through shit is to go forward. There's no sidestepping your problems, and nobody's going to accomplish your goals or your dreams unless it's you. You got to be the one to do it. And that's the point of this entire little spiel that I'm going on. You have to be the one to do it. Nobody else is going to do shit for you. They're not. They just won't. Some people will help you along the way. Absolutely. But what's the old saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's just the truth. It's just what it is, man. That's the reality of the situation. The only time your life is not going to get better is if you choose to do nothing about it. And unfortunately, a lot of people go through that shit. I've seen a lot of people do it. A lot of people will choose, and this is the truth, they'll choose to stay in the same situation, even if they're fucking miserable, because they're more afraid of failing. What is so bad about failing? I fail all the time. Do you know how many parts I don't get that I audition for? Tons. If I had a nickel for every part I didn't get, I'd be a nickel-aire. I wouldn't be a millionaire because, I mean, Jesus, it's only been, I don't know, thousands. But either way, I would have a fuckload of nickels. That's what I could say. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. If I don't get the part, that's fine. I move on to the next one. It could have been a variety of reasons. I'm not going to let something like that get me down. Sure, there's moments where I might be a little upset because I really wanted the role, or maybe I thought I would be good for it, or maybe it was a really high pay scale and I knew that could help me with bills or other life expenses that we just got to deal with. But hey, if it doesn't happen, don't find yourself in a situation to where you're feeling sorry for yourself. You get too frustrated. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel sad, but you got to get through it. You kind of got to be blunt with yourself. That's really the point. You got to be blunt with yourself. Anytime I hear myself say, I don't want to do something, that's when I go, shut the fuck up, Jay. Quit being a pussy. Do it. Because if I do something I don't want to do, unless it's like, someone tells me, hey, Jay, eat a person. Yeah, then I'm not doing that. I'm talking about, I don't want to go train. I'm tired. And it's not because I'm overtrained or I'm hurt or I'm recovering. Okay? And I get through that training session and I knew I didn't want to go in the first place. Not only have I done something that made me physically stronger, but it made me mentally stronger. I mean, sometimes there's parts that, like auditioning. This will move on to something else. There's times where I audition for parts that I don't want to audition for whatever reason. I may not like the part. I may not find it interesting. I may feel like I don't fit the part itself. I don't care. I'll audition anyway because it's the challenge. Okay? And this leads into something with voice acting and just acting in general. Sometimes we fall into a comfort zone and everybody does it. I've been guilty of it myself. And what I realized is the thing about voice acting, and something I've always fallen back onto, is that I will always audition for parts that scare me. And what I mean by that is I will audition for parts that somewhat intimidate me because I go, ooh, I don't know if I could pull that off, or ooh, I don't know if that accent's good enough. How do I know? How do I know unless I actually go out and audition for it? How do I know if I don't try? That's the point. Dream big. Dream big. What's the point of dreaming small? Why? Why would you do that? Why would you just want a small dream to be fulfilled? Why? Because maybe it's easier? Maybe if you fail, you don't have that far to fall? Who gives a fuck? I said this earlier. Nobody gives a fuck if you don't do something, if you don't succeed at something. They're not going to think any less of you. Most of you have friends and family and people who love you. If you have loved ones and friends and family and shit, they love you. They don't care how many times you fall down or don't get something or fail at something. The only time people are going to think you're actually a failure is if you quit. So that's the number one thing. Don't quit. Don't quit. It's terrible for you. It's the worst thing you can do. Get up, keep trying, move forward. And I mean this in every aspect of life. You have to set a goal. And I talked about this. I know I talked about this on the last show. You have to set a goal and you have to move toward that goal. Manage your time better. And this is one of the hardest things that I know people have difficulty with, okay? There's a lot of things we got to balance out in life. There's a work. You have to go do your hours or whatever. Or if you get paid salary, you have to work. If you have a family, you have to spend time with your family and do all that kind of shit. If you have friendships, you need to spend the time with those friends. If you have other things in your life that matter to you, like hobbies or interests, you want to make time for those things. You just got to learn how to section your time out properly. Okay? And remember, it's not a bad thing to tell people, hey, I got stuff to do, I gotta go. If people are really your friends, and I mean this, if they're really your friends, they'll understand. And if they don't understand, well, then they're not your friends. It's a little different if you have a family, okay? But at the same point, if this is something that you have to do, that you know you have to do, your family's going to have to understand that. Or they're going to have to sacrifice and lose you for a little while. Talk it over with your spouse if you're married. Okay? That's part of the balance. But also understand, this is a reality of sacrificing things. If you sacrifice too much, there is a real possibility that those people won't be there when you've done and conquered something that you wanted to conquer and accomplish. And you have to be okay with that. If you're not okay with losing people along the way, don't even try. And that's a reality. Okay, it's a reality I've learned over time in my life, and it's very real. But that also depends on what type of people you have in your life and if they are really there for you. And then it depends on how you treat those people. Look, I'm not saying be a selfish asshole. Okay, I'm not. It sounds like it, but I'm not. What I'm telling everybody is to be more about your time. Manage your time better, pick a goal, go forward, and don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to dream big. Just understand that it's going to be hard work and there's no substitute for it. That's just the reality. I was thinking about this with voice acting, okay? And this was something that I struggled with early on when I first started voice acting all the way back in, I don't know, what was it? 2013, maybe, something like that. One of the biggest things that I had difficulty with was finding my voice, okay? And not only finding my voice, it was all these other things that I'll talk about in a second, but that's one of the things I'll talk about, okay? One thing you got to learn is that you got to accept your voice. Your voice is yours. Nobody else has your voice. It's unique to you. Okay? And once you find that, think about the impressions you can do. Think about the accents you can do. Hold on, I have to drink something. Think about the impressions you can do. Think about the accents you can do. Think about all the ways you could twist and pull and manipulate your voice. And then you might discover that you have way more range than you once thought. Okay, early on in my voice acting career, I had no idea what my voice really was. I knew I had a good voice, but I didn't know if it was for narrations. I didn't know if it was for audiobooks. I didn't know if it was going to be good for animation or dubs or any of those things. I had no idea because I was just starting. And what I realized over time is that my voice is my voice. And this comes to auditions too. When you're auditioning for something, don't listen to other people's shit. Just don't. Who gives a fuck? Unless it's a vocal reference that you have to listen to because that's exactly what the production wants. If you have to do something, and you have to mimic the voice reference that they want, yeah, then you got to listen to it. But I'm talking about in general. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Doesn't matter if you're going through email or if you're going through like story.co or Casting Call Club, which is an all right site. I like Casting Call Club or Voice Actors Club, whatever it is, whatever site that you audition on or anything like that. If you're able to hear other people's auditions, don't even bother. Don't listen to them because then you're going to start comparing yourself to other people and you don't want to do that. Find you. Your voice is distinctive. How you do something is how you do something. And sometimes that may be exactly what that director, that creator is looking for. Sometimes it won't be, and you'll get past. Big fucking whoop. Move on to the next one. Don't worry about it. Find your voice and what it's good at. Try it out. Yeah, you're going to sound like an idiot, but nobody gives a fuck. Nobody actually cares. Look, we live in a world today where everybody has their head so far up their own ass, they're not even paying attention to anything that you're doing anyway. Nobody gives a fuck if you walk around yucking voices all day looking like a wackadoo. Everybody's a fucking wackadoo. Don't make a difference. Just practice. If you hear something, like in a cartoon show that you like, go practice the voice. Practice the voice and record yourself doing it. Why? So you could see how closely it resembles to the actual voice that you just heard, be it on a cartoon show, an animation, well, cartoon, animation, same thing, a video game, whatever it may be. Just try it out. A movie, just try it out. What's the worst that happens? You don't sound like it? Who cares? You're going to figure out where your actual vocal range is. Think about your natural speaking voice. And then see if you can raise the pitch a little bit. See if you could lower the pitch a little bit. See if you could put some rasp on it. See if you can make it more gravelly. See if you can make it higher. Maybe, experiment with these things. If you don't experiment with these things, then how are you going to know how you actually sound when you get to the auditioning room? And speaking of auditions, audition for roles that scare you. I was talking about this earlier, but audition for the roles that you're unsure of. The reason why is because you don't know how good at those roles you actually are until you go out and try. Okay? There's dubs, audiobooks, e-learning, animations, audio dramas, podcasts, like all sorts of different types of projects. Anime. Okay? Try them all, especially if you're new. You have no idea what you're actually good at until you figure it out. And then once you figure that out, you got to learn how to get out of your comfort zone. And that's where auditioning for roles that kind of frighten you a little bit are the ones, or you're unsure of. That's why those are the most important ones, because you continually have to challenge yourself. Acting is not a normal job. It is not. I'm going to tell you right now, because I've gone through this personally. Shit, I was going through it earlier today when I was auditioning. Okay? I was wondering if I was right for certain things. I was wondering if I should audition for this one part because I wasn't sure about it, because there was another part I could audition for that was well within my range and my comfort zone. But you know what? I ended up auditioning for all the roles. I don't know if I'll get it or not. I have no idea. I have no fucking idea. No clue. But it didn't matter. I auditioned with the voices that I could give it, and then I sent the audition in. Will I get it? I have no idea. But it doesn't matter. One was for a video game, another one was for an animation, this other one's for an animation, the other one's for a fucking visual novel. You just got to try. You got to try, and you got to try different voices. And a great way to figure out these voices is, sometimes you got to listen to a reference of something you saw on television or saw on an animation or a cartoon or a video game. Other times, you just have to go with your gut. And go with what you feel this character is supposed to sound like. Look at the character sheet. Study it a little bit. Look over the lines. Do 2 or 3 practice takes before you hit the record button. There's no shame in that. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a shit how many times you practice those lines before you hit record and sent in the ones you sent in. They don't know. Maybe the way you said something is different than the way everybody else said it, and that's what they like about it. Maybe your take was just what they heard in their head, or maybe your take was so wildly different from what they envisioned, but you just screamed through the ether and you became what they envisioned. You don't know. So audition for the roles that scare you. And I'm talking about genres specifically. Say you want to do anime dubs and you're really good at those and you get booked on those a lot. And then you see a role for an audio drama and you go, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if I could do that. They need a different type of voice and I'm not sure about my range. I'm not sure if I got the baritone. Try it anyway. Just try it anyway. Even if you don't get the part, try it anyway, because what you're building is the experience. You're building in the reps. That's all you got to do. You got to build in the reps. If you work enough hours on something, you eventually get better. You have to get better. Everybody sucks at the beginning. And over time, you get better. It's just what happens. So find your voice, experiment with it, and then find your emotional range. Because that's what I'm saying when sometimes you read the line 3 or 4 times in your head. No, not in your head. Well, yeah, read it in your head when you're briefing it, and then read it out loud. Say it in different ways. Say it in different voices in different ways. Try it with an accent. Try it with your natural voice. Try it with a deeper voice. Try it with a lighter voice. Just experiment, and you're going to find this rhythm and cadence that all writing has. Writing is like music in a weird way. Now, that sounds stupid, and admittedly so. I heard it as I said it. I was like, Jay, that sounds dumb. How are you going to explain that one? I'll tell you. Writing's like music, because when a writer writes something down, there is a rhythm and a cadence. There's a beat. There's a beat to how the words come out, and you got to find that beat. And this is up to your own interpretation as actors. I don't remember who I heard this from, but I've always stuck by it. And this was an actor. I can't remember who it was. they said, or he or she said, actors are there to interpret the writing. We're there to give the best interpretation of the writing. And I really believe that. And I've always kind of gone off that guideline because I'm not writing it. I write, but I'm not a writer by any stretch of the imagination. I can write. I'm a co-writer. I have written things. I'm a writer on a show that I'm working on right now, on 2 shows I'm working on right now. But I don't call myself a writer. No way. I just write for those shows. Writing is a different type of skill set. And can I write? Sure. But I don't call myself a writer. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just kidding. Or am I? You don't know. Look, the point is, actors are interpreters. We are there to interpret the script as best we can to give us our portrayal. That's why it helps when we understand the subtext, when we understand the character itself. It gives us more to work with. Actors love subtext. I do. I love it to death because it gives me a lot to work with off on how the creator wants me to deliver those lines. And it really does matter. It's just the truth. I don't know about other actors. I don't know how they feel about certain things. I can only go by with what I feel. But that's how I've always approached it. So when I read the character sheets and I get a description of the character and I understand more about the character, it does change the way I deliver lines a little bit. Because if I have a character who's kind of an asshole and he's a drug dealer and he's a bad dude, the way I deliver lines will be totally different as versus I was playing a father character, which I played tons of. Jay a daddy? Yes, Jay is everybody's daddy. Phrasing. But no, when I got to play a dad character, it's totally different. Sometimes I play angry dad. Sometimes I played wiser fathers who were more sympathetic and emotionally intelligent. I mean, shit, there was, I recently did a ASMR. Yes, Jay just did an ASMR. Okay, this is what I mean by audition for stuff that kind of freaks you out. I had no idea if I was going to get hired for that ASMR. Shout out to my homegirl T-Drop. But I did. And I played a grandfather. And they had me use a very slow, deep, sensible voice that's warm and invites an atmosphere that everything will be okay. It's very different from my normal speaking voice because I'm radically up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. My natural voice, here, just take me for example, because it's my show. Why not? I have a naturally deep voice, very bassy. I have a very bassy voice, but I also have a pitch that goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Depends how excited I get. Ha! Phrasing. Ha! That's a fucking twofer. But you get what I mean. And I learned early on that depending on what range I do, depending on if I go lower, I can make it more gravelly. And if I go higher, I can make it sound not like a kid, but I could be at the older teen area. And that's due to age. As you get older, your voice will change. And there's another thing people don't think about, specifically in men. Women voices don't change as much as a male's voice does, mainly because of, well, I would imagine testosterone is one thing, but it's also the Adam's apple. And just as men age, their voice gets deeper. It gets a little more gravelly. You can't hit the same higher notes that you could in your younger years. And that's just what happens. You know, sometimes as you get older, you slow down a little bit. And I figured out how to not slow down. That's continually bombarding my motherfucking brain with all this stuff I got to remember at all times. And that's something I want to talk about really quickly. Your body and your brain and your mind. Body, brain, and mind. Brain and mind is a similar thing. But you're only going to do as much as you tell your body to do. If you allow yourself to slow down, you're going to lose it, especially as you get older. So don't slow down. That's why the old adage goes, if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's true. If you don't use something, that skill set begins to diminish. That's not only true in acting or voice acting, it's true in athletics, it's true in your job, it's true on anything that you have to do in life. If you don't use a skill set continually and refine that edge, what happens? It becomes blunted, and you don't want that to happen. So for me, when it comes to aspiring voice actors and stuff like that, you got to find your range. You have to find your ability on how to channel emotion, and it's different for everybody. You don't have to be all super method acting and put yourself in the worst headspace imaginable and go through real agony every time you need to do an emotional scene. No, you don't have to do that. That's why it's called acting. All you have to do is find the place you need to go with that given scene. If you have to be sad, then be sad. If you have to cry, figure out what makes you cry. And everybody's different. I have things that I'll think about that do make me tear up. And it's not what you think. It's not something deeply emotional or personal. Shit, there are times where I'll think about Cobra Kai, like a scene between Johnny Lawrence and his son Robbie Keane, and it'll make me tear up when I got to do an emotional scene. Why? Because of the emotional investment involved that I gained from that show. You see what I mean? It's not something personal to me in my personal life. It's something personal to me that I watched in a show that I just so happen to like a lot. God, I've done enough YouTube videos about it. Jesus Christ. But that's what I mean. And auditioning for the roles that scare you is important. You have to do that. And what all that basically is going outside your comfort zone. Look, your comfort zone is one of the worst places you can find yourself. If you're comfortable, that means you're complacent. If you're complacent, that means you're not going to work to improve. Be uncomfortable. And I mean that. Don't rely on your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, you're never going to grow. And you don't want to do that. If you stay in the same place and you stay in the same shit that you're doing, you're going to fall into this little trap, and you're going to wake up one day and you're going to wonder why you hadn't lived life. See? You thought I was just talking about acting. This is past acting. It translates into life. But I really do hope that helps people, from actors and just to other people who are listening who may not be actors, have no inspiration whatsoever. Hell, this could even apply to people who want to make YouTube channels or Twitch streams or anything that they do. If you have a problem with public speaking, start a Twitch channel and then go on Just Chatting and talk to people. Why? Because it'll help you. It absolutely will help you. And you have to get over that anxiety. You have to get over it yourself. Now, I don't have anxiety. I don't suffer from it. I don't know what it feels like, but people tell me about it and the symptoms, and oh my God, does it sound fucking horrible. But I don't suffer from it. But the best advice I've ever given any of them who have told me when they come back and they say, Jay, your advice worked, is I go step out of your comfort zone. If you don't step out of your comfort zone, you'll never improve. That's not just in acting. It's not just in martial arts or your job or anything else like that. It's part of life. Life is not about being comfortable. Comfort is earned. You have to earn it. If you don't earn it, then you're never going to appreciate it. Look, some of the happiest moments in all of our lives have come from what? When we accomplished something, when we improved on something that we didn't think we could do previously. That's where the happiness sinks in. That's where it's created. That's where real gratification comes from. Happiness is not scrolling through your fucking cell phone and eating bad food that'll make you fat and miserable and stupid. No. We live in a society today where pleasures are everywhere. Instant gratification. And if you surround yourself with instant gratification, you will get nowhere in life. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact. Because if you surround yourself with instant gratification, streaming, food, pornography, all this shit that at a click of a button you could have it instantly, your brain's going to get fucked up. Your mind is going to get rewired in a way that's going to negatively affect you. And it's true. Look at the people today, okay? And I mean this, and if this is you, I highly encourage you to change your life. Look at the people today. People live on the internet habitually. They live on the internet. They wake up, they're on their cell phone. They watch Instagram Reels. They watch TikTok. They watch Shorts. They look at all this stupid shit that means nothing. It absolutely means nothing. Do people not understand that the internet is not the real world? Social media is not real. I know you know this, okay? But maybe you need to hear it again. Get off your fucking phone. Get off it. Talk to people. Stop putting headphones in your fucking ears when you walk around everywhere. One, that's one of the stupidest things you can do, just from a self-defense perspective. As somebody who's taught people how to defend themselves, I tell them, okay, I will look at the class and I will go, how many of you walk around with headphones in your ears? How about half the hands go up? And I go, how would you ever know if someone was going to stab you or rob you? How would you be prepared? How would you be prepared? And you know what they would do? They would go, oh, I would know. I would see. I would go, no, you wouldn't. Stop lying. Because when you have headphones in, you're not paying attention. You're paying attention to the media that's in your fucking brain. You're not looking around. You're not keeping yourself safe. Excuse me. And I bet for most of them, they're sticking their head in that fucking screen. And that's going to dull your senses and dull your awareness. Now, I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's most people that I see on a regular day. On a day-to-day basis, 8 out of 10 people that I see walking down the street, in a mall, in a restaurant, they're all staring at their cell phones. And you all look like fucking morons. If it's one of you, if you're doing that, stop it. Just knock it off. You're not doing yourself any credit. We live in a society where more people feel more empty and more depressed every single day. Do you wonder why? It's because everybody's looking at a screen, getting a false perception of reality blasted into their fucking heads, telling them what their life should be like. Does that not make sense to you? Because it fucking should. The real world is outside of the internet. The internet is bullshit. Most of the, okay, here's a great example. If you like the show Family Matters and you look up any information about Family Matters, about season 10, all the information on that so-called forgotten season that was never made, it's all bullshit. That was all somebody or a group of people, not the same group, but groups of people over time making up bullshit about Family Matters. And that was confirmed by somebody who actually was involved with the show Family Matters. That's just one small example. Look, being on the internet doesn't help you. Watching reels, nothing wrong with watching some shit. Okay? I'm just saying you got to balance things out. Like I was saying earlier in this show. You got to chill, man. You really do. Your life is worth more than you think. And a lot of people have this weird perception that there's always going to be more time than there actually is on their clock. And there's not. Because if you look at things honestly, tomorrow is not promised to anybody. I swear to God, I said this last show. I might have. I'm pretty sure I did. But tomorrow's promised to no one. You don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. I know that sounds morbid, but it's a reality. You don't know. Do not spend your entire life watching meaningless bullshit. Do something to improve your life. And if you're not doing something to improve your life, then it's your own fault why your life isn't getting better. Manage your time better. Do things that make you afraid. Get out of your comfort zone. There is a million reasons not to do something. Pick the fucking reason why you should. I know this sounds harsh. Maybe nobody said this to you. Maybe a lot of people have said this to you, and I'm just another voice that you're not going to pay attention to. So be it. But I am no good to you as a creator, as myself, if I didn't say this to you. All of you listening right now. Because sometimes people need to hear it. It's just the truth. We live in a society nowadays where everybody is enabled. And most people are allowed a pass when they do not deserve one, myself included. That's why I give myself no passes. Fuck that. Anytime I feel like I need the time off or I need a break, I go, you know what, Jay? No, fuck you. Are you where you want to be at in life? And I go, no, I'm getting there, but I'm not there. And I say to myself, then Jay, do you even deserve a break? And I go, well, you know what? I don't. And then I think and I refocus and I go, okay, what can I do? What can I do next? I have this many hours left in my day. How can I section out the time that I have to get as much as I have done before I have to go and eat and spend the time that it takes to cook and then, eat and then clean the dishes and then put the dishes away? Yeah. I'm one of those people. I don't leave the dishes. I clean them and then I put them away right after. So guess what? I don't have to do it later. Because if I wouldn't want to do it later, I know myself. I'll go, oh no, fuck that. I don't want to do that. We go right back to it. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I'm too a million reasons not to do something. Screw that attitude. Don't do it. It's going to hurt you. I promise it hurts you. I know. Everybody lives in this world now. Most people. I say everybody. I mean most people. You hear it all the time. Oh, I need me time. Oh, I need a vacation. From what? What'd you do? Have you earned it? People go, oh yeah, I did this. I worked and I did all this kind of stuff. Yeah, everybody does. What makes you so special? I don't do that shit. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. That's not what this is about. I'm simply stating that until your life is where you want it to be at, and I really mean this, until you have accomplished the things that you have set out to accomplish, the work isn't over. I'm thinking back to something Daniel Cormier once said. He said, embrace the grind. Learn to love it because it's not gonna stop. And that is the truth. I learned that in wrestling. I learned it in Taekwondo. I learned it in kickboxing. I learned that in Muay Thai. I learned that in mixed martial arts. I learned that as an actor. I learned it throughout my entire life that the grind never stops. The grind just changes. You gotta hustle and you gotta bustle. The only time you should take days off is from the gym because your body needs to rest and recover and you need food and carbohydrates and protein and micronutrients and all these other things. Take supplements too. Just don't think supplements are a replacement for food. That's why they're called supplements. They supplement what you're not getting in regular meals. But oh my God, I've already gone 40 minutes. You've been hearing me rant and rave about everything from voice acting to working out to goal orientation and time management. Good God, it's been a weird show today. There was something I talked about earlier that I wanted to kind of address. And this is kind of the modern society we live in today. And I was talking about it earlier. Look, it's gotten to a weird point in life in the modern world we live in today where people seemingly don't know how to communicate anymore. And it's very bizarre. It's probably one of the strangest things I've ever encountered. I grew up in a different time. I'm significantly older than the majority of people that listen to my show. So I feel like I'm in a weird position to talk about this because I'm not so old that you're going to say, oh, this old fuck is bitching about something. And none of you know me as a person, so you can go, oh, okay, well, this is just some guy's opinion on the internet. So that's what it is. I grew up in a time where people had to communicate, where we didn't have smartphones, where when you wanted to go see your friend, you had to call them on a house phone, on a landline. And if that motherfucker didn't answer, he wasn't there, well, you either went to the spots you knew where that dude or chick went to, or you just went back later. It's just what it was. And I think it was the lack of connection that made people more connected. And that sounds strange, but hear me out on this. I've always thought about this. The more connected we have gotten as a society, the less personable we become as people. For example, how many times have you gotten a message from somebody and you just swiped away from it? You went, I'll wait, not important. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? The person is messaging you for a reason. They would like a response. People, unless you are doing something where you honestly cannot answer that person. That's a serious level of rudeness. And the reason I say this before everybody gets all crazy on me is because you have your phone on you all the time. Don't say you don't. If you say you don't, you're a liar, unless it's charging. More often than not, that's the case. You saw that goddamn message. You did. I did. I don't swipe away from people. You know what I do? I answer it. Unless I'm doing something like right now, like recording a show for people. Or I'm training. And if I'm training, you know where my phone is? It's in my fucking locker. Or I have it on me for a timer. And most of the time, if it's somebody important in my life, which there aren't many of, and that's by choice, just so you know. I'm very, very particular on who I let into my life. And there's a reason for that. I'll get to that in a second. But I will tell them I'm training and I won't be responding to them. It's like, hey, I'm training. I'm at the gymnasium. And if they send something back, too fucking bad. I just told you what I was doing. I'm not going to divert any more of my attention when we go back to time management. I'm not going to divert any more of my attention to something that isn't important at that moment. And a second ago, I talked about why I was particular with the people I allow into my life because most people are fair weather as fuck. And that's not me being cynical or jaded or an asshole. Look at life. That is true about people. More often than not, you will find people who will just take up space. They're not really there for you. And that's a sad reality. Look, I got a good piece of advice from a very wise man. And he said to me, learn how to be comfortable in your own company. Because there are going to be times where the only company you're going to have is your own. So get to know yourself and get to know yourself well. Learn who you are as a person, and you have to be okay with that. You have to love yourself as a person. Now, that sounds a little hippy-dippy, but it's true. When you think about it right now. Think about all the friends you have. Think about all the friends you actually have, quote unquote, the ones you call friends. How many of them are really there for you? Truly there for you. The people who are really there for you, that you consider family, even deeper than family, the people who you have the deepest connections with. How many hands can you count those people on? One hand. For many of you, it's probably not going to go past 4 or 5 fingers and a thumb. And if you do have more people like that you can count on 2 hands or more, that's great. But on average, what I've seen with people, this is not just my personal experience, it's with everybody I've ever met. Most people only have about 2 or 3 really close friends. Everybody else is just, oh yeah, that's a friend, but they're really an acquaintance. Or there's someone they know. Or there's someone they've known for a long time that they're, comfortable with. Even if that person is a roaring pile of shit, they'll still keep them around. And I've never understood that. I, as a person, would rather be happy by myself alone than have a bunch of people around me who I'm wondering why the fuck I let these raggedy ass bitches in my life in the first place. With a lot of friends brings a lot of drama, brings a lot of headaches, brings a lot of inconvenience that you don't need. We live in a society today, and I'm going back to this. We live in a society today where we're more interconnected, where relationships with online people start up and diminish, and it's hot. It starts hot, and then it ends cold. Look, y'all got to understand something. Your internet friends are internet friends. If you've never met them, you don't know them. Be real with yourself. You don't actually know them, and that's the truth. Don't fuck around with that. The people who you really know are the people that you spent time around, where boredom has been allowed to set in and you're just sitting there together, that you're just there for each other's time. It's different when you've never met a person physically and been around them for a prolonged period of time, and I'm talking a while, maybe years, versus being able to end a communication at any point in time. When you can't hang up on them, when you aren't able to swipe away their message and they're right in front of you, that's when a real friendship begins. Hell, that's when a real relationship begins. When the honeymoon period is over, that's when the relationship starts. And what you'll find is that most people don't know what to do anymore. Most people don't even know how to talk. How many times have you tried to talk to somebody and you realize, oh my God, this is as far as you can go in a conversation? You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Stop giving people credit. Look, think of the stupidest person on the planet right now. Think of the dumbest motherfucker in the world. The average person is dumber than that. That's not me being a dick. That's just true. Look around you. Next time you're on the subway, next time you're on a bus, next time you're just people watching. If you do that, that's kind of creepy. You probably shouldn't do that. But hey, if you do, hey, not my decision, not my problem. just don't be looking at them with binoculars and a photo and a fucking camera, unless you're a paparazzi. Then just do your job and get your $300 and call it a day. But look around you. Listen to what people actually talk about. Seriously, most people, they talk about the brands that they're about to buy. They talk about the shows they watch. They talk about stupid shit. Now, how many of them stay in the same place? Now, how many of them really think about their lives? Probably a lot of them. Probably all of them. But how many of them are actually doing something about it? How come a person knows more about a TV show than they know about the things that actually matter? Or how come they're not pushing that attention and that focus into things that actually matter? I don't know why. I'm not certain. Maybe it's because people rather be comfortable. And then we get to the other enemy. Comfort. Comfort's a killer. Comfort is a strange thing. This is why earlier in this show today, I said you have to earn being comfortable. And the second you're comfortable, you better stop. You better move on to the next goal. Delayed gratification is one of the best things that a human being can ever accomplish because it always leaves something more to accomplish, to complete, to conquer, to do. In a world where we have food on demand, we have streaming on demand at the click of a button, it's dangerous to become that comfortable and complacent. It is. And if you don't believe that, think about it. Really think about it. How easy is it to get everything that you want at the touch of a button? But the one thing that 99% of the planet wants, they can't get at the touch of a button. Not really. It's human connection. And that's what the crux of this entire conversation is about right now. I know it's one-sided because you're hearing me talking. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Post in the comments below. I'll read them. I like reading comments. Whether you agree, disagree, hate me, love me, I don't give a fuck. I put this out there so people can talk about it. That's the point. That's why this show has been uniquely different than any other show that I put out on Phrasing with Jay. Because this is the stuff that I don't think people talk about as candidly as I do. Now I know, God damn it, I'm fucking sick. Oh my God. Now I'm not saying this to be an asshole. I'm just putting out a perspective out here that I don't think a lot of people think about. I know I have a mindset that's very different towards the common. I think about goals. I think about what I need to accomplish, and I think about how can I go about accomplishing them, and I do not waver from them ever. I do not like wavering from them. It's very different than when I have to take time for myself. When you have to take time for yourself, and what I mean by that is if you have gone to the gym 5 days in a row and you have to take your rest days, at that point, don't do anything physical. I mean like lifting weights. Go walk, go jog, go for a hike, go do some light cardio. And then when you get done with that, go do something good for yourself. Go start a business. Work toward that and work toward making it the best business you can. Set another goal. Set another goal. There is no reason in the world we live in today that you should be sitting on your fucking ass, twiddling your thumbs going, I'm bored. Are you out of your fucking mind? There is a million ways to make something happen for yourself. That's part of the beauty of living with this modern technology and this modern convenience. I mean, shit, we basically live in Star Trek. We're one step away from fucking food replicators. Are you kidding me? That's insane. Pretty soon, we'll be able to walk in to our kitchen and go, tomato soup, hot. And the tomato soup will appear. How frightening is that? But we're getting there. Maybe in the next 50 years. Who knows? But what I will say is that the modern society we live in today has never been more connected and less personable. Here's a good example. And I brought this up before on streams, and I'll bring it up here so it can be recorded and documented. I was walking to my gym that I train at to do a strength and conditioning session. I saw a girl who was walking by. Guess what she was doing? Staring at her phone like a fucking idiot. But she looked pretty. Okay, she was cute. So when she's walking by, I walked up to her. When we were passing, I said, "Hey," I said, "Hi, you look very pretty today." And this girl looked up at me with the shock and then looked disgusted at me. Like I was a bastard for complimenting her. And I'm thinking to myself, bitch, fuck you then. I'm just trying to be nice. I'm literally just trying to levy you a safe compliment so you can go on your day and just like, oh, I guess I do look pretty today. No. She looked at me like I was going to rob her. And then when she realized I wasn't going to rob her, she looked at me like I was a fucking criminal. And I'm going, what the fuck is this bitch's problem? And this is in my head, obviously. That's what I mean. People are so impersonable today. They're so entitled. They got their heads up their goddamn asses. And that's what I don't get. I remember, and this is just the time I grew up in, but if I said hello to somebody most of the time, you would stop and have a 5-minute conversation. Hell, you might exchange numbers. You never know. But now we don't live in that age. Now everybody is stuck in their cell phones and they're looking at bullshit. And it's not even, look, it's different if you're doing things that matter. I'm not talking about people who are looking at their email and checking over the stuff they have to do for their business or checking over an invoice or paperwork they have to do, or they're doing things that matter. I'm talking about time wasting shit. If you have TikTok on your phone, uninstall it unless you make content on TikTok. If you make content on TikTok, you're part of the problem too, but that's okay. That's okay. This world is literally a fucking ball of shit now. I think human beings have ruined this planet. I think the second the smartphone got invented is when humanity started getting stupider. Because I grew up before smartphones and I saw a steady decline of people and how much it radically changed. It's very strange. Have you ever seen this happen? You're in the middle of a conversation and then somebody pulls out their cell phone and then the whole conversation dies because somebody's just looking at their goddamn phone. It's like, motherfucker, if you finna like come out and chill, why the fuck you staring at your phone? Get your bullshit out of here. Cut that shit out. But not everybody thinks that way. A lot of people give me the same excuses. Jay, you're too hard on people. Jay, you're so judgmental. No, I'm not being judgmental. Maybe I'm a little bit. But the whole point of why I'm being judgmental on certain things is because it matters. It absolutely matters. God, I'm still sick, son of a bitch. You can hear me sniffling, my bad. But it does matter. And the reason it matters is because when people are so hyper-focused on this fake fucking world that a lot of people live in, it becomes a problem because people forget about what I was talking about earlier, human connection. It is the most important thing that humans can have. And for whatever reason, humans have forgotten how to do that. Now you have people who walk around all day and have no idea on how badly their brain is being fucked. How many relationships has TikTok ruined? How many brain cells has Instagram Reels and Shorts killed? How many times have you found yourself? There's a term. It's called doom scrolling. How many times have you caught yourself doom scrolling? I don't do it. Do you want to know why? Because I don't look at my fucking phone unless it's business or it's personal or it's related to something that I need to answer, that I have an urgency to answer. Don't live on the internet. I understand that not everybody's going to live like me. People are going to go, okay, come on, Jay. It's not like I'm not going to watch a reel. Hey, that's up to you. That is. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm giving you an opinion of what you could probably be doing that would better serve you throughout your life. At the end of the day, this whole conversation that I've had, one-sided admittedly, so like I said earlier, post in the comments. If you have goals in your life, and you want to do something with it, and you want to make it valuable, then manage your time better. You're not managing your time well if you have a fuckload of screen time on your phone, and you're not getting the shit you need to get done. If you have the spare time to scroll on your phone, then you have the spare time to spend an hour working on your business, learning a new language, educating yourself on something that will better you. Researching something and whatever your profession is to make you more efficient at what you do. That could be the ticket to getting yourself a fucking promotion, or your ticket out of a job you hate and into a job you love, where you're making money doing something you actually enjoy. I know this sounds a little hard-nosed, and I know that a lot of people might go, God damn it, Jay, why is he being so hard on us today? It's because, man, I don't know how many times any of you have ever had to hear this. I don't know that. Because I don't know any of you, and none of you know who I am. All you have is what I give you here. And if I have to give you anything, I'm going to be giving you things that can entertain you, but at the same time, you're going to have to hear things that are good for you, even if you don't want to hear them. And you have a choice. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can click off the shit. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't do this. I don't do this for my fucking health. I don't do this show for money. That's not what this is for. Phrasing with Jay is a show to entertain, to inspire, to help, to motivate, whatever I can put across to you. I'm a person. And what I've realized is that sometimes I'm going to talk about games. Sometimes I'll talk about segments. But lately, the reason I haven't been talking about video game movies outside the last one, the Minecraft movie, is I haven't had the time to sit down and do that. Why? Because I've had to prioritize it into all the other shit that I have to do. Now, I don't feel guilty about that. I don't. Because I had to prioritize the stuff that I've been hired to do. Because that will better my life so I can get into a situation to where I can do those things again for everybody. And I want to do those things again for everybody. But it has to wait. Unfortunately, that's just a situation that has befallen me. But that's what I mean. Time management. I have to make sure, like everybody else does, that I get all the shit I need to get done first before I can do anything I want to do. And I know you all understand that. And for that, I'm forever grateful. And I don't want anybody to misconstrue anything I've said today as an attack on anybody, because it's not. I just sound aggressive because I am an aggressive fucking person. I'm just very aggressive. If I'm not completely exhausted by training and all this other shit I have going on, I'm a hyper aggressive person. I always have been. I'm very direct. I don't like bullshit in any stretch of the imagination. I never have. I don't appreciate it. And sometimes it does flare my temper. But I do want to get on to one thing. And this is very different from what I've just spent the last hour talking about. This is about movies. And it's a very weird thing that it's a very weird thought that occurred to me. Maybe it's not weird, but it's a thought that has occurred to me. I've watched a lot of these Disney productions from the 90s when I have had the time, and I give myself that whatever time allotment that I have. And I've been looking at stuff from the 90s specifically, and then I'll go and I'll look at stuff from the modern era, and I don't know what it is, but I swear to God, I don't know why the best stuff, and this isn't just nostalgic thoughts that are seeping into my brain. I really believe this is true. I don't know why older media is so much more relevant than the new media that we have today. A lot of the new media we have today is very, it's just, you don't remember it. Nothing really captures you anymore. It's all kind of paint by numbers. And I imagine it's because the people who really run this place, the corporate overlords, are just making people stupid with their shit. But nowadays, it just doesn't hit like it used to. It just doesn't. I look at stuff from the 90s and movies from the 90s and earlier, the 80s, 70s, and 60s. Like, a lot of more of them had messages, and the stuff we get today is more fluff. It's just a lot of frosting. Thank you, Harry Kim, for saying that. And what I mean by that is it's very sugary, very appealing, very fun to watch for the eyes, but there's not a lot of substance in it. Eventually, you want something that has more substance and has a little more nutrition for your entertainment sensibilities. And for whatever reason, it just seems like the 80s, 90s, and some of the 2000s, it had a little more. And the later we got into the 2020s, 2010s, 2020s, and so on, it just lost that. And I'll talk about Disney particularly, even Marvel movies. You know, Marvel movies back in the day, they were okay. I've never been a big Marvel fan. I remember watching all the Marvel movies because a girl I liked wanted me to, and that was fine. But I watched so many, and at a certain point, it all just started to run together. And I didn't get why she was such a big fan of those selected properties, because the messages were kind of twisted and conjoined. And then eventually it kind of became a thing where everything was just leading into the end credits. So you could see the 5-second clip at the end of the movie to go, whoa, there's the next movie. Maybe I'm just not a fan. That could be it too. I'm fully aware of that. But not just Disney. It's just all movies. Movies seem to take a nosedive in creativity. Same with video games. Nowadays, video games are just in a weird point. I've noticed that a lot of video games that I did enjoy were from way earlier on in video game history. I mean, a lot of the video games now, I don't even bother looking at. Why? There's something, this is a weird thing. And I'm going to step away from movies real quickly. Oh, this has been an ADHD fucking show today, hasn't it, everybody? It really has. But I don't know what it is about video games. But there's a part of me, and I don't know if every gamer accepts this. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they silently acknowledge this, but they'll never publicly admit it because they love their hobby. There's something about video games that seems very wasteful. It really does. I don't know why. I do know why, actually. Something about it seems very wasteful. You spend all this money to play something that distracts you, that doesn't make your life better. And something about me is, now you don't have to agree with me. And God knows I would never want to change anybody's mindset when it came to video games or anything like that. But just for me, something about playing video games for a prolonged period of time, making it your main go-to, it seems very wasteful. God, I'm sniffing a lot today, motherfucker. Something about it seems very wasteful. I don't know why so many adults choose to do it. There's only so many hours in a day you have, like I said before. And why would we want to spend it on something that doesn't improve our life going forward? And don't think I'm too old when I'm saying this. I used to think like this when I was a kid. Longtime listeners know that I've always thought like this. It's just kind of gotten a little more hard-edged as I've gotten older. And that could be age, it could be life and responsibility, it could be lack of free time and everything I do with acting. But still, at the base of it, I was taught really early on to focus and to set goals and to accomplish those goals. And when that goal is done and you've celebrated that victory, you move on to the next one. And you repeat the process and you never stop. That's how living is done. That's how you get the most out of life, because one day we're all going to die. And if the only thing that I can say in my life that I accomplished was I played a lot of video games, I don't know if that's something I'm going to be okay with. I rather would have done more. And I know other people may be different. Everybody's life circumstance is different. I'm not trying to shit on your hobby, people. Same with movies. I love movies. I've seen a ton of movies. However, I balance those out in doing everything else I got to do. And I'm sure a majority of you do the same thing. So this probably doesn't apply to you. But I'm looking at the people who spend their entire lives stuck in that perpetual state of non-blinkingness. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what's so comforting about doing nothing. I'm a very active person, and I always have been. I'm not just talking physically. I'm talking mentally. And I think when I was young, a kid, we're talking kid age, I remember watching movies and playing video games as a kid. And I always wondered how they did it versus the product I was playing or watching at the time. I was always far more interested in how it's made versus the finished product. And that was as a kid. I remember watching UFC 2 on VHS. Yes, this is how old I am. And I wanted to know how the cameras got the shots that they got. I wanted to know how the fighters trained, because I was already in martial arts at that time, and I was already competing in tournaments locally, nationally. And I just wanted to know the behind the scenes stuff. I was far more interested. When I started listening to music, and this is a weird thing about me, I didn't start listening to music till I was well older. I didn't really listen to music at all, other than what my mother and my father played, my oma, my appa played, until I was in my late teens. So a lot of the bands and all this kind of stuff, I had no idea about. I just had no idea about, because I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck. You have to remember, I came from a fighting background. And from the time I can remember, I was pretty much raised in a dojang, a training hall, where I was training every day and I was fighting, and they didn't play music. You were just learning. You were learning how to fight. You're learning how to compete. You were learning how to win. That's all that mattered. Win. Learn the technique. Learn how to defeat your opponent, so on and so forth. Music didn't come into my life until way later. And it's weird that now I make music on commission. And I'll tell you, it's very strange, because I don't even listen to today's music. I don't listen to music at all. I really don't. I did a little bit on the Twitch stream and stuff like that, but by and large, I don't. I literally, I feel like kind of a robot sometimes, because I know other people more normal people. They listen to music, they watch television, they hang out with their friends, they drink alcohol, they do all this stuff. I don't do any of that. And I feel sometimes that it makes me very different to the rest of the world. And I wonder if it's, I can't say it's unhealthy that what I do, because I focus on work and what I do to make money to pay my bills. I train my ass off, and I've been a lifelong martial artist. So a lot of my life, if it's not been in a training hall, it's kind of been spent in isolation in a way where I'm just more focused on what I'm doing and what I'm preparing for and the next goal. And that's just what it is. I guess if, for me, I've always been so goal oriented that I never really had time for any of these other things because I didn't prioritize it, because I didn't want to take away from the investment that I was making in myself. And I'm not really sure, just not. It's a very bizarre thing to learn things about yourself and come to certain realizations when you're in the middle of recording them. It's fucking weird. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to wrap up here. I have exposed everybody to enough of my crazy today. So thank you very much for tuning into Phrasing with Jay. And go follow me on the social media that I talked about on Instagram at GameJisSus, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at GameJ1. That's the number 1, not the letters. And go subscribe to the YouTube channel at GameJ. And okay, look, there's a thing that's going on with the YouTube channel. There are things I want to do with that YouTube channel, but I'm battling the want to do it versus knowing that it's not fiscally sensible for me to continue something like that YouTube channel. And that's just the reality of it. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that at this current point in time in my life, I have to commit to things that I can make money from. I need to. I really need to. I have people that depend on me, and I can't come back to them and with the excuse that, well, the YouTube video didn't get a lot of views, or I'm not making money off it. So sorry, I can't provide for the people I need to provide for. It's not a valid excuse. So I need to focus on acting and what actually pays the bills. And if something picks up with my YouTube channel in the future, I'll be the first to let you know. But as of right now, I don't know what I'm going to be doing going forward on that YouTube channel. Don't get me wrong. I love doing the video essays. Doing those YouTube video essays were something that I enjoyed extraordinarily. I really did. But I really had to take stock and think about the man hours I was putting in versus the payoff that it was giving me. And it was just diminishing returns every single time. And I can't commit myself to something that I am looking at right now and going, the traction's just not there. It's just not there. And with everything that's going on in my life, and technologically speaking, which I'm still having issues with, because I remember at one point in time, I was real hype because I had this ability to get this computer. That's no longer the case. And I've had to work on other things like moving and getting a car, a new car, and all this kind of stuff. So that has to come first. So I don't know when I'm going to be making stuff on the YouTube channel again, nor do I know when I'm going to be Twitch streaming again. It's just one of those deals. I'm doing way too much that I have to do because that's what's making me the money I have to make. And I owed everybody that explanation. Now, I'm not saying that channel's dead. What I'm saying is it's on hiatus. I want to make Tindalos again. Okay, I'm working with Cited TV on making more Tindalos content media. I just don't know when it's going to happen. And it kills me, man, because there's a whole thing about Cobra Kai that I still haven't finished, and it's in my brain, and I want to make it, and I want to put it out. I just physically can't make it right now. I don't have the technology. And in order to do that, I would have to not buy a fucking car. And come on, man, the vehicle's got to come first. You got to be realistic. But that's just a little update. I do have a lot of animation projects coming out. I have a ton of roles I've done the voice acting for. I just don't know when they're coming out. So I will let everybody know about that. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. And everybody take care of yourselves. Tomorrow's promised to nobody. So live your life to the fullest, like it should last.